Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to what we do on this Friday Eve. It is something special. It is dynamic. We even got it broken down in comic strip form for you. We are the Sideline Junkies. This is the Friday Eve special. And with that being said, now there's going to be people tomorrow. They're going to do their normal matriculation to work. They're going to traverse the path that's called traffic on the beltway, the highway, and on the back roads and the main roads of their neighborhoods. And they're going to get to this destination. And that destination is going to be a place called work. And when they get to work, they're going to go in, they're going to punch in, they're going to go in because, you got to get yourself situated before you start working. So it's going to be somebody at the Keurig. It's going to be somebody at the water cooler. It's going to be somebody at the refrigerator. And they all going to be talking. And then somebody running late is going to come in and ask them, what are you talking about? What did y'all watch last night? And the guy in the back with his face in the sandwich is going to take his head, lift it up, raise it up high, and says, they're talking about the Thursday night Throwdown. Yeah, baby. And with that being said, this is how we start the show. This is how we do what we do. Welcome to the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. I'm the Midnight Rider. That's the big guy, KG. Now, you're catching this live now at 7:15 p.m. on Thursday. You can watch this on Facebook, YouTube, and X. All right? Now, what you're going to do tomorrow morning when you wake up, you got to give it a little time, probably give us some notice or whatever. And then you will have this available in the audio form on all the podcasting platforms. So if you do Spotify and all those other places, wherever you get your podcast from, we there. So you get to check us out. So even if you missed us tonight or you missed a portion, you can go back and get the audio version. That way you all caught up on your Sideline Junkies. Now, with that being said, I'm the Midnight Rider. That's the big guy, KG. Now, he's going to host this now and take us through. And we're going to take you on a quick journey through the sports world. We got a lot of different things to talk about, but I'm going to let him just guide you along the way he wants to. With that being said, take it over, KG.
Well, thank you for that rousing introduction there, Night Rider. Uh, as usual, man, just get you ready for the Friday Eve show. Uh, Welcome to the Thursday Night Throwdown, presented to you by the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. Uh, Man, it don't feel like it's Thursday already, but it is Thursday already. So
It
let's
better
go ahead and
be,
get
bro.
this thing.
It better be.
Hey, who you telling? All
Oh,
right, let's get this. First and foremost, we're gonna start it off right, and we're gonna start it off quickly. Midnight Rider, how you feeling tonight?
I'm good, man. I'm ready to go. Chomping at the bit. Omaha. Let's go.
All
Omaha.
right, well, let's hit it. News dropped a little while ago today that Embiid has been diagnosed with appendicitis. Now, I don't know where everybody else got the news, but I got my news from C. Perry II, and all I could do was shake my head. Uh, Midnight Rider, my question to you, because you and C. Perry II do around the association in 30 minutes every Wednesday night, seen here at 7:30, called Nothing But Net. What does this mean for the Sixers? Because he's going into surgery, I believe, today. So what does this mean for the Sixers and as they push to make a run in the playoffs and they're in the playing game?
I think it actually opens the floor up. I think this puts the bigger emphasis on Peppermint Patty. Paul George. You need Paul George now to be the self-proclaimed playoff P. Because I think if you get anything out of him and he can stay healthy, this allows Maxey to be the scorer that he is, and then allows you to use VJ Edgecombe. And I think it unclogs the floor a little bit. I think they can open the floor just a little bit more and let those guys attack. And I think you just have a three-guard setup. I think it might even be better for them to not have him be, because they don't have to worry about getting him touches. Those touches can be split between Edgecombe, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey. So that's how I see it. I see it almost as a plus, because I think them having a four-headed snake was going to be more difficult for them than having a three-headed. And I think with the three people that they have left, they complement each other very well, and they can play off the ball in terms of giving the rock up and letting somebody else take advantage of their matchup. Because I think you got three dynamic scorers that can make it difficult on teams trying to guard. And then you can try to get, I mean, I would think you can try to put some stuff like you put Maxey and Paul George in some high post action, and maybe he sets the screen, and now either you got to switch the three onto Maxey, and then the one sits on George. Now, do you want to go with Maxey driving by the guy, or do you want George posting up? I think they get some options out of this. I think they can vary their offense enough that I don't think it hurts them as much as people going to think it is. And maybe that's also because I'm not a big Embiid guy.
Mhm. Ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing it here first. Me and the Midnight Rider agree on a player, and not being a big fan of that player. I'm not a big MB guy, my daggone self, man. I think he's limited in skill wise. And speaking of which, I'm not trying to kick anybody while they're down. Appendicitis, I get it. That move he hit the other night, and they said, "Oh, he hit the hard and step back." Embiid's in his bag. No, he packed a bag, had a carry on, and he traveled.
He
So
went through
let's stop calling people. Huh?
Say he went through customs.
Oh my goodness, did he had his passport ready? Let's stop saying people got bags when they're actually breaking the rules of the game. But I digress. I said this when Perry posted it in our group chat. I said,
Mm.
you know what? It's always something with the Sixers. It's like every time you think that they got something going, the Sixers this year are not a bad team. They may be a playing team, but the playing teams in the East aren't your typical bad playing teams. Like they're just people that are hanging on by a string. Nah, these teams are balling. It's a battle. It's some real stuff going on, and it's always something when the 76ers got time on their side and they're ready to roll, and it's like this may be the year that the process actually works, and boom, you get something like this. But if they win, despite him being out, ooh, what does that say when it comes down to later on down the line and you got to figure out who you're going to keep?
Well, I mean, they're going to be one and done. They're going to win their playing game, advance, and then lose to either the one of the top two seeds. So they're a sacrificial lamb to some degree in this process. So we're not even worried about them going any further than the following week. So if the season ends on the 12th, I know the first round of NBA playoffs takes like 3 weeks to finish. So more than likely, what's going to happen is in 3 weeks they'll be making plans for Cancun. So that's what's going to happen. Go ahead.
You, you said something else. You said if self-proclaimed playoff P. See, that I don't. That's the part I don't agree with. You don't want playoff P to be anywhere around this team. You don't want him to show up. You don't want playoff P to just be like, "Hey, I'm here." No, no, that's about as bad as Hoodie Mello. You don't want them around. What you want is you want PG-13 to show up. That's who you want. You want PG-13 to walk through that door, got his cape on, and give you the relax, and he start knocking down shots to the point it's like, did he just rewind the clock back? That's who you want to show up, not playoff P, not peppermint patty. No, you want PG-13 to show up.
We'll see how that plays out. We'll
It's
definitely see how
damn
that
sure
plays
gonna play
out.
out the way I'm saying it.
Nah, I mean, we just got to see. I mean, we got our first bit of adversity going into the playoffs. I mean, of course, we have the stuff with the Lakers where Luka's going to Europe, um, stem cell treatment, to get something done for his hamstring, stem cell treatment. And so we got to see how that goes and how that plays out, stem cell treatment. So um, he'll probably come back with no problems and he'll be okay. Stem cell treatment. So yeah.
Hey, that and if stem cell treatment and platelet injection is the same thing, it works. Because didn't Kobe get platelet injections on his knee 1 year and
Yep.
came back stronger than ever.
Yep.
Yeah, do it. Next up, this is near and dear to your heart because you called it. Giving you your flowers now. Chuck Martin hired at Carolina to help coach the Tar Heels. You talked about this last week as well as this week when we were talking North Carolina and who they should hire. I was way off base as usual, but you was spot on. So giving you your flowers on that, and this is your team, so take it over.
Nah, I mean he's one of the best recruiters in the country, and he's a good guy for seat one. So when you get seat one taken care of in college basketball, that takes a lot of stuff off the head coach, and you can do some other things. So he's probably gonna be the head of their recruiting. And then I still think a kid like Marcus Page is somebody that should be involved with the staff because he's young, he's up and coming. Um, he's the kind of guy that I think in 6 years maybe he can be the person that takes over because I think Mike Malone's gonna wear out his welcome. Mike Malone isn't he isn't the easiest person to get along with. So I mean you can ask Denver that because Denver walked away from a guy that won them a title, their only title, only 2 years later. So there's got to be something there. And I think some of that has to do with Jokic. They're in the hunt for this kid coming there's a guard out of Santa Clara that had a big tournament game. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but I think that's one of the kids they're attached to that they're trying to get in. And there's a couple other names. So if they can bring in a good transfer class, God, I can't believe I'm saying that. But if they can bring in a good transfer class, we can make things happen and things can take shape. And maybe we get a team better than we expected this year, as opposed to having to wait a year to see the fruits of their labor.
I like that type of optimism right there. But and when you said it, transfer portal, I think you threw up in your mouth a little bit. I think you did because it's nasty. It's a nasty taste. No, nobody wants to hear it. I don't want to hear that. But certain teams, that's the only way they're going to win is hitting that transfer portal hard. We got 1,500 players to choose from. You got to start recruiting, recruiting, recruiting. So
No, 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 no. You said 15. That was the number as of so the portal opened at 8 a.m. What was that, Monday or Tuesday, whenever we started talking about it? And by
yeah,
3
Tuesday.
by 3 p.m. it was 1,500 people. I guarantee you there's more than 1,500 people in that portal.
Mm, damn, that says a lot.
Well,
You know who y'all can sign?
think about it like this. The portal has been serving two purposes. The portal has legitimized top tier mid major guys. Because now they can prove that they can play with the big boys. And then even though they got overlooked coming out as a high school senior, now they get their chance at their bite at the apple and they become the sought after, the thing that the person that these big schools want because of whatever their trade is, whether they can shoot the three or they can do this and they can do that. And that's why we have this big portal. I mean, I remember saying 2 years ago at one point, they said with so many kids in the portal that you could field it's your own NCAA basketball conference off of basketball league off of the peak kids in the portal. The portal was there for
Mm.
A, kids to try to make money, and B, for kids to make bad decisions and leave places where they should have stayed because their coach wasn't the problem, they were the problem.
Well, I'm gonna throw this at you, and I'm gonna be real quick about it. If you could, would you pick up Robbie Avila,
Name doesn't ring a bell to me.
the kid
Um,
out of Indy? What they call him? Uh,
you talking about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Nah, I'm not. Nah, I wouldn't. I mean, not for Carolina. I'd want something different. Because I think they have to get more athletic. They have to get back to the top tier guys like you were getting when you were getting the Vince Carters, the Antoine Jamesons, the Stackhouse. You gotta get those guys instead of getting guys way down the list. I think I said the other day that their top recruit was 12. I think it was like 12, 23, and 32. You can't build you're not building a top-notch program at 12, 32, 23, and 32. You need those numbers to be 3, 10, and 15. Now we talking. Let's go. Omaha.
Okay. All right. Let's switch over and we'll talk about the Masters Leaderboard. Now we got play is almost done as of this show. Uh what was that? Scotty Burns, 5 under through the first round. Rory McIlroy is tied for first with him. Uh I can't damn I need to pull that up on my other phone because I can't even read that. God,
Kitayama is at -3. Day is at -3. Reed is a guy that the correspondent picked. He's at -3. Not Mike, but Shane Lowry is at -2. That's one of my guys. Xander Schauffele is at -2. Justin Rose, I think that's another pick by the correspondent. He's at -2. Scotty Scheffler is at -2. HT Lee's at -1. Intel is -1. Tommy Fleetwood is -1. Campbell's -1. Ray is -1. I think it's Jacob Bridgman. I think that's another one of the correspondence guys, if memory serves me correct. He's at -1. And then I think that's Gary Woodland. It's either Gary or Greg at -1. And Woodland's the guy that has he had like a trauma situation where he had to have surgery on his brain. He's been dealing with the PTSD after that. He won a tournament early in this year. He's won like 2 tournaments. The first one, he said he won it for himself. The second one, he said he won it for people in his situation that have had to deal with hardships and things and don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And if they can use him as seeing a way out of their heartache or hardship.
if I'm not mistaken, that was the one the correspondent said had the lesion on his brain.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. He went through hard. And it's when you hear somebody go through something like that, it's hard not to pull for him because it was tough. And then you come back and you win. It's hard not to root for a guy like that. It's hard not to.
Exactly.
But I said something on Tuesday and I was corrected. Uh, I had picked VJ Singh as one of my guys, and let's just say VJ, I think, is tied for 81st. He's 7 over through 1. So,
Oh man.
the money I would have lost on that.
We wouldn't have let you. That's why we didn't let you do it, man. I can't. That wouldn't even be fair to you. I forgot who we gave you. I know I got it somewhere in here. Because we did, and just so folks know, so what we did was as a group, we picked 3 golfers each, and instead of dealing with all the favorites, we took the favorites off the board in this scenario. Only because it's easy for somebody to say, "Oh, give me Scott Scheffler, give me Rory McIlroy." So we wanted to feature just some other guys that were in the tournament, lesser known guys. So let's see if I can pull this up here. So Keith has Justin Rose, Patrick Reed, Jacob Bridgman, who are all on this top 10. So he's probably got the early lead. KG's got Koepka, Garcia, and Spieth. And then I have Chris Getterup, not Mike, but Shane Lowry and Ashday Badia. So that's kind of who we're looking for each one of our 3 teams. Those guys are probably in the middle of the tier of guys that can win it. I did what I said I was gonna do. I took a little quiche. I took like $2, nothing crazy. So If any one of my three guys win, I get an you know what, KG? We may be going to Sizzler. We going to Sizzler. So that's the case in this situation. But it's been a interesting master so far because uh the course is just perfect. The greens are firm, um, the fairways are firm, the ball is traveling. I've seen a lot of guys hitting trees on 15, having to come out of that first bunker. Uh, the putting greens are so fast. I think the Shambo was blading his chips across the thing. So a couple times, what I mean by that is you hit when you try to chip out of a bunker, you hit the side of your club instead of the face of the club. And sometimes when that ball comes off of that, it just shoots across um, the green. You don't have any touch on it. It's just pure, and it sizzles across, and you can hear it sizzle. And I've personally done this where I've gone from one side of the green and in the bunker to the other side of the green in the bunker, and then back over to the other side where I started from in the green in the bunker. It's not a fun thing. Oftentimes, at the end of that, a club might get broken or a beer is purchased to settle you down. So that's how that scenario goes or scenario works out in this situation.
I love how you just broke that down. I really do. Because you said on blades of grass and moving from side to side. What? Man, whew, y'all be in some teaching moments, man. I just want to let you know that.
Nah, I did. I swear to you, I did it at Raspberry Falls. I was playing. I think it was a couple of guys from Geico, and I almost took somebody out because I was trying to come out of the trap, and I bladed that joint, and it was like duck, you know. Um, yeah, nobody was safe in that situation, bruh. And it's not fun when you're just going back and forth, side to side on a course, and you just keep going over the obstacle you're trying to get to. Yeah, man, not the best of days. Let's get to this HBCU thing because I want to definitely get into that since we got the draft coming up, and I know this is something that's near and dear to you. And then maybe after that, if we have time, we hit Ovi. But if we don't, let's get you out so we can get you going to where you got to go. Um, the reason, or let's start back. Let me use one of my SAT words. The impetus of this thought process for this topic. I was watching NFL Network last night. I woke up to it, and they were talking about, and you can probably correct me on some of this because this is your side of the ledger. Um, but they talked about Walter Payton. I think it was Brazil, maybe. It was like two guys from Jackson State. Walter Payton got drafted fourth. He got drafted sixth. And it was somebody else, but they were all from HBCUs. And the thing that stood out to me was I had to think, like, who are the latest guys from an HBCU to really have an impact? Now, we had Shaq Leonard in Indianapolis, but after him, I can't really think of anybody that really like stands out to me. And now with this NIL format, I have to ask the question, like, is the HBCU athlete extinct in the NFL? Because he's going to be, yes, he'll have HBCU ties. So when I think about that, I think about Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders. They'll have the ties to HBCU, but they won't graduate from HBCU. And I know you know the greats that came through HBCUs that in the 70s and 80s that, had impacts and put indelible marks on this league. And I just don't see those marks. I don't see those footprints anymore.
You're absolutely right because we're not there where we were, where you have a Doug Williams coming out of Grambling, Art Shell coming out of what was that? Before it was Maryland Eastern Shore, it was, I want to say it was Maryland State College.
Yes, I think it was Amy.
Uh, you had the linebacker out of Kansas City came out of Morgan State. You were getting gems. Shout out to Lloyd Wells, rest in peace. One of the great cultivators of HBCUs for the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFL. He had a pipeline of players out of HBCUs that he would pick up and draft. But no, we don't have that anymore because you said it, and I said it when we first talked about NILs. What's going to happen when you got a player that goes to Grambling, and while they're at Grambling, they have a breakout season and they finish second in the Heisman as a freshman, and all of a sudden the big boys, the USCs, the LSUs, the Notre Dames, the Miamis start calling and start throwing that money. Money talks. That player is going to leave Grambling and go wherever the money is. Gonna go where the money reside, where the money reside. And can you blame them? No. But they're going to poach talent from HBCUs as much as they possibly can. And I think it's a sin and a shame to do that because these players weren't good enough when it was on the recruiting trail for you to recruit them then. But now all of a sudden they're good enough because they went to a HBCU and shined. I don't like that because you're playing HBCUs like minor leagues. That's my opinion. But I think that we have gotten to the point where that's it. We're not going to get too many HBCU graduates. I remember the Redskins at the time had Leonard Stevens, and he graduated from Howard University. We're not going to have too many of those guys that graduate from HBCUs to go to the NFL.
That's what's up, man. And with that being said, let's kind of start trying to close out on this note. We got a couple other conversations that we can have later on this weekend. So let's go with real quick, wrap that up. If you got something for wrap that shit up, B, let me know. For me, I'll say it this way. Maddie has sent me a couple of the mock draft for the mock spectacular, the people's mock. The mock of the millions and millions of people. I participated. I think I did 3 picks. I like my picks. I'm curious to see who did some of the other picks because I think they're cooking with the same grease that I was cooking with. We'll figure out Sunday because we do probably have to get a mock in Sunday or either Tuesday. So we got to figure that out, KG, and make it work. Anything else from you, or you want me to go ahead and get us out of here?
I'm looking forward to the mock because I've been doing my homework. I didn't watch much of the combine. I caught some things, but I've been doing my behind the scenes homework. And I said, you know what? I'm determined this year to impress the Midnight Rider with my picks. That's the determination. That's the goal this year. I'm gonna impress you with my picks.
So let's go. Because we always do 32-1. Let's see if we can just try to just cram that in on Sunday. Like maybe,
Okay.
hopefully, I mean, we can do Masters to open, and then we just do all mock the rest of the way. And in that scenario, I'll pick one player. I'll give names, but I'll say this is who I think they pick. I'll do it that way.
Okay.
All
And
right.
I'll make sure I record it so on draft night while we're on, we can see if you still got the same winning percentage.
I don't know about that one. All right. That works though, dog. All right, man. So
But
I'm Midnight
that's
Rider.
all I got.
This is the big guy, KG. You've been in for another episode of the Thursday Night Throwdown. We decided to hit you with something quick, and we got to get out of here. But with that being said, for those that commented, thank you for your comments. To those that watch, we appreciate you watching. And now that you've watched it a couple times, get comfortable and start talking to us. We some nice guys. We friendly. We all right. We cool. So with that being said, again, he's the big guy, KG. I'm the Midnight Rider. It's the Thursday Night Throwdown. We thank you for your participation and your observation. And have a great day and enjoy your Friday. And we'll see you Saturday night with the WrestleManiacs and Sunday with the Sunday Rise.